You feel groggy when you finally wake up. The back of your head is throbbing and your mouth feels dry, and as though it's been stuffed full of wool. With bleary eyes, you glance about. What time is it? Where are you? And perhaps more importantly, who are you? You don't remember. Any attempts to probe the nooks and crannies of your memory are depressingly unsuccessful. Dwelling upon your identity too deeply hurts. It's a dull sort of pain rather than a sharp one, but it makes you wince nonetheless. Perhaps it's better not to attempt to remember too much then. Thinking was never really your strong suit. You've always been a creature that existed upon pure instinct. A fool who thought that she was more intelligent than she was, who... It would seem that I am getting carried away again. My apologies. This is not that sort of story, and in any case, I hardly have the energy to be too acerbic. I'm afraid this has already been done before, and I wouldn't want to be repetitive, or worse still, trite and tedious. I will try to restrain myself for the rest of this narrative. Now let us return to your predicament. You do not know who you are or where you are, but with some luck there should be something close at hand to jog your memory. It's bright and you have to blink away spots of white which bloom behind your eyelids. Hissing like a scalded cat, you rub your eyes with the heel of your palm. Your surroundings melt and twist around you, rippling like the troubled surface of a lake. Then all of a sudden you hear a voice call to you, light and bright and full of girlish amusement. Oh, I see you are finally awake. Who said that? Ah, just there, you can see her now. There is a woman standing by your bedside. She has the hair the colour of sunset that curls around her face, her eyes are soft and a smile plays about her lips. She looks sweet like an angel, but you only know too well that looks can be deceiving. You're unsure whether you trust her. It is hard to trust anybody when your head aches so much and you do not know where you are, especially a woman such as this who looks so very at ease. Does she not realise how anxious you feel, or does she simply not care? You try to ask her what's going on, but you can only get half of the question out before you start to cough. Oh, you poor thing. The woman tucks and hands you a mug of something warm. You've been through a lot, but don't worry, I'll look after you now. Now here, drink this. You look down at the cup and its dun brown contents askance. Is this really safe for human consumption? Yes, it's fine, silly, I've not poisoned it, if that's what you're worried about. In fact, it's the opposite. The opposite? Indeed, I enchanted it to soothe any unwanted aches and pains. And I'm sure your head is aching. It must be after everything that's happened. What happened? Now, I'll only answer one question at a time. They'll get confusing otherwise. And you must be plenty confused already. Now come on, drink. You're a little hesitant to fulfill this woman's request. She is a stranger after all, and you've no idea what the liquid inside the cup is. This could be some sort of trap. But the woman is smiling and she doesn't necessarily look wicked. Perhaps you can trust her. You bring the cup to your lips, not knowing what else to do, and the weight of her expectant stare is uncomfortably heavy, and begin to sip. The drink is warm, surprisingly so. It makes your lips tingle. As for the taste, well, it's not unpleasant. In fact, it's quite nice. Is that honey? You only intended to take a small sip of the curious drink, but before you know it, you've downed the whole mug. It tastes too good, and your head does feel a lot lighter now. You thank the woman hesitantly. You know not what else to say, and she beams. It's alright, I thought you could use a little pick-me-up after everything. You've not had an easy time of it, haven't you? No, you don't remember, the woman asks. Not a single thing. Well, maybe that's for the best. What happened to you was probably quite traumatic, though I did try to be gentle. I didn't want to cause you any undue hurt, but here's the thing. It's surprisingly hard to kidnap a princess from a palace without causing a bit of a fuss. The woman laughs, her laughter is light, just like her voice, and it washes over you. It ought to be soothing, just like the drink she prepared for you, but it isn't. Your shoulders do not get any looser. Instead, your whole body tightens. A princess, did she say? Yes, that's right, you're a princess and I'm a witch. Everybody in the kingdom said you were singularly beautiful. Not that I put much stock in those rumours, of course. I mean, how many people can say they've actually seen a princess? I thought it was all hearsay. Just stuff and nonsense, really. But then I happened to glimpse you during the royal ball held to celebrate your 18th year, and I realised the rumours were true, and you really are beautiful. You're so beautiful, in fact, that I have to have you for myself. The woman, the witch, leans forwards. She's still smiling, but there's something unsettling about it. Her teeth, you realise with a start, are awfully sharp. Her nails, meanwhile, are terrifyingly long. She cups your face in her hands, her long fingers resting against your cheekbones. Her nails scrape against your skin like knives. Her breath smells sweet, but only superficially so. Underneath it, you think you can detect something of the crypt, something fetid. I've been laying low for a while to keep it to myself. I've been awfully good these last 100 years. But it does get boring, you know, always being on my best behaviour. I'm a witch. I'm supposed to cause the odd commotion here and there. It's part of the profession. The witches exist to curse people and to cause problems. Lightly the witch giggles, her sickly sweet breath skimming over her face. And princesses exist to be kidnapped, especially pretty ones like you. That's the way it is. It's the way it's always been, and I'm fulfilling my role in this little story. So please don't get mad at me. We can't help our innate natures. The witch leans in further still, her long, fair eyelashes trembling. You look so pretty in that gown of yours, which was paler than the moonlight. But I think you look even prettier as my prisoner at my mercy in this tower. You're in a tower? Yes, that's right. It's a nice tall tower out in the forest. Nobody knows where it is except myself, and it's protected by all sorts of enchantments. It's not possible for anybody to get in or out, except me, of course. The king and the queen can send out as many search parties as they want. It won't make a blind bit of difference. You'll not be escaping here in a hurry, and you're all mine now to do as eyes please. And I'm not going to let you go. The witch's eyes flash like lightning. For a few moments she looks unsettlingly and nervingly inhuman. You want to push her away, but you can't. Your body no longer wants to obey you. Was it the beverage she gave you earlier, the one which tasted like honey? You do not know. You have no earthly clue why your body is frozen, why you cannot bend your fingers nor blink your eyelids. But these thoughts, and all of the thoughts for that matter, are soon scattered. The witch dips her head. She closes her eyelids, her long lashes matting together. She parts her lips. Then she presses her mouth, which tastes of sugar and soil and something sinister. Something which you cannot describe, against yours. You, of course, are powerless to resist. How could you ever hope to push her away? You are only a princess. She, meanwhile, is a witch. It is her job to dominate you. Is that not how stories such as this always go? Once again, you feel groggy when you wake up. The back of your head is still pulsating and your mouth feels dry as though it's been stuffed full of wool. Your stomach, meanwhile, is coiled up in knots. You feel sick. What time is it? You sit up in the bed, bleary, half asleep, wiping your eyes with the back of your arms wet. Ooh, are you finally awake? Oh? You glance up, your head snapping into position like a ball-jointed doll's. You recognize the woman who is standing by your bedside. It is the same woman you saw yesterday, the one who looks like a rose. Did she not say she was a witch? How very curious. You ask the witch what she is doing, an innocent inquiry tempered by sleep, which makes her laugh. What does it look like, my dear? I'm waking you up. Well, yes, you can see that. So why ask? What time is it? It seems awfully early. It's not very early, really. It's a sensible hour. One that young maidens, fair princesses such as yourself should be up and about. I'm sure your servants woke you up far earlier than this, when you still lived in the palace, to help you with your toilet. Did they not bathe you and brush your hair and dress you? Did they? You cannot rightly remember. But the witch is waiting for an answer and you don't want to disappoint her. If you really are a princess, surely you must have had servants. You nod. What else are you to do? And the witch smiles. I knew it. You should have been awake hours ago. But I am an uncommonly kind witch, and I won't scold you for being slatternly. I used to be scolded myself when I was younger for, all sorts of misdemeanours. Most of them were made up. I don't want to do unto you as others did to me, not when you are my very precious guest. Your face colours a bit at the compliment, though you cannot help but wonder who would be foolish enough to scold a witch. Well, I wasn't always a witch, you know. Was she not? No, people aren't born as witches, dear one. They become them, after being subjected to enough hurt during their lives they wish to shed their former selves, so that they may attain power of their own. Witches are humans who have been wronged, who wish to inflict some part of their suffering upon others in turn. Not that I mean to hurt you, of course. That would be a waste when you've such a pretty face, and such lovely long hair too. Now? The witch beams looking positively perky as she retrieves a gilt-backed brush from your bedside table. Would you let me brush your hair for you, dear one? Your hair? Yes, your hair is awfully tangled, and you have a lot of it to look after. You must have been tossing and turning in your sleep because you've knotted it. I doubt you know how to brush your own hair. What with your fancy upbringing, so may I? Your You eye the witch hesitantly, some of your former unease returning to you. Why, you ask the witch, does she care about your appearance so much? Why does it matter when you're trapped in this tower? It matters because you're a princess, dear one. A princess is still a princess whether she's in a palace surrounded by her courtiers or trapped in a tower with a wicked witch. In fact, one might argue that a princess is even more of a princess when she's been held hostage by a witch. And how does that work? It is how all these stories work. Princesses and witches are just two sides of the same coin. The good and the bad, the maiden and the hag. Not that I think I look particularly hag-like. As far as witches go, I think I'm a bit of an anomaly. You're an anomaly too when it comes to princesses. Your hair's a rat's nest. I need to make you look presentable. For whose sake? For the sake of satisfying story. You don't understand what she means by story. This is real life, is it not? Well, I wonder. What is real and what is not is often up to the beholder. You wouldn't wish to look dishevelled should some handsome prince chance by your tower, would you? That would make an awful first impression. Is it likely that a prince would stop by here? Not in the slightest, but hope does spring eternal. If daydreaming about being rescued keeps you going, then who am I to rob you of that opportunity? Goodness, that's so generous of her. I know! I'm a veritable saintess. Now come here, your hair isn't going to brush itself. You can see that the witch is very insistent about this, though why you cannot fathom, so you give in. It isn't as though you have many other options, being locked away in this tower as you are. Excellent, now just leave everything to me. I have experience, you know, when it comes to making princesses look pretty. Oh really, is she in the habit of kidnapping princesses? Wouldn't you like to know? The witch giggles as she settles herself down upon your bed. Then she reaches for your hair. Your body tenses at this initial contact, as if fretful she might strike you, might slice you. But the witch, despite her title, does neither of these things. Instead, she begins to work as obedient as any drudge, running the comb through your locks over and over and over again until they start to crackle. On the third morning, you are ready and waiting for your visitor when she arrives. Though perhaps appears would be a better word. Inside your tower. You've come to expect the witch's presence, so you are not surprised when she takes a seat at the side of your bed. You regard her uneasily, still attired in your nightgown, your hair rumpled after yet another night spent tossing and turning. You think that you had nightmares last night, though you cannot remember them, not clearly. Perhaps you were running in them. Is that why you woke feeling so tense, your heart beating a static rhythm inside your breast? Yes, that sounds about right. You were running. You can recall, albeit faintly, through a forest. But then the witch holds up a wicker basket from which a truly mouth-watering smell emanates, and your half-recalled dream dissipates before your very eyes. The witch giggles, and in a girlish manner she says, "Hungry?" You nod instinctively, without thinking about it. You cannot remember the last time you ate, and the witch beams. I thought so, now here. The witch reaches into a wicker basket, then holds a flaky pastry out towards you. Do you want some? You stare at the pastry, your gaze affixed to it, as if it was Holy Grail, a sacred relic. All of a sudden you can think of nothing but food. You are ravenous, so much so it almost scares you. It is strange, though. You cannot recall feeling hungry at all, not until the witch presented the pastry to you. It is almost as if your body forgot what it meant to be hungry until now. You could have done without the hunger pangs, but now you have remembered what hunger is, you can feel it gnawing on your insides. You're not dripping at the mouth at least, but you might as well be. You could reach out and take the pastry from the witch's long, bony fingers and stuff it into your mouth. You could tear your teeth into it, then swallow it in 2 bites. The thought is a tempting one, but it's not very princess-like. Starving though you might be, you must maintain your dignity. The witch watches you as you hang back abashed and tuts. Oh, stop being silly. If you don't get any food in your belly, you'll starve. Not even princesses are immune from hunger. Now look here. The witch breaks a piece of the pastry apart with her fingers, then she proffers it to you. Say, ah. What? Are you really doing this? Doing what? This play act, you mean, like lovers, or else? Does she mean to treat you like a pet? I am not just treating you like a pet, you are my pet. I own you and you belong to me, and you are mine to toy with as I choose. But for the present, I would prefer to be nice to you, not nasty. Don't make me regret this decision. The witch's eyes narrow, a foreboding shadow crosses her pretty face, though it lasts less than a moment before it dissipates. Now come, stop this silliness, eat. You still feel uneasy, but the witch's voice is firm and hard beneath the layers of sweetness and light, and you know better than to argue with her. You do not want to incur her wrath. You lean in. Then, as obedient as an enchanted lover, you part your lips for your captor. You spend your 4th day in the tower sitting by the window looking out over the forest which surrounds you. There really are a lot of trees, you think distractedly, your legs dangling over the cool lip of the sill. They spread outwards like a green blanket, or else like an ocean wave, rippling and unadulterated by the breeze. You cannot look directly at the ground for too long, it makes your head spin. Just how high up are you? You ask this question to the witch who is brewing a pot of tea over a small stove. She glances at you, a small smile playing about her lips, and says, "High enough, dear one." You ask her how high that is, and she chuckles. "Why does that matter? You won't be able to leave regardless. Not unless you can sprout wings and fly like a bird. Do you think yourself capable of such a feat?" The witch's eyes bore into you, they're sharper than knives, and they make you shudder. You glance away from her back out of the window over the treetops. There is a moment of silence. Then you ask the witch what she would do if you tried to do. Then you ask the witch what she would do if you did try to jump from the window. What would happen then? Then you would soon discover that you are not a witch or a bird and you cannot fly. You would hit the ground and you would break all of your bones, and that would be that. Then you would die. Most likely, which is why I would not advise it. Of course, you're always welcome to try. But you'd be much worse off for it, don't you think? You suppose being crushed into a bloody meaty pulp on the ground would be significantly worse than submitting to the indignity of speaking to the witch every once in a while. I knew you'd say that. You're a clever girl, it must be your fancy education. You princesses are all so very smart. You bask in the compliment for a few moments, but something in the witch's words makes you frown. What does she mean, princesses? Why the plural? Are you not the first princess she has captured? Oh, well, you know how this is. We witches are very long-lived. We have 9 lives just like cats. Princesses, meanwhile, only have the one. It would be awfully lonely if I had to pledge myself to one princess and one alone, when I have endured for so many years. You understand that, don't you? Then are you not the only princess she has kidnapped? Of course not. So long as princesses exist, witches like myself... Of course not. So long as princesses exist, witches like myself exist to lead them astray, but worry not. In this moment, you are the only princess that I care for, and I will take good care of you, I can promise that. Oh, dearie me, where has the time gone? The witch addresses you thus during your 5th day spent in captivity as she is tired toying with your hair. The witch addresses you thus during your 5th day spent in captivity as she is tired of toying with your hair. She stayed at your side rather longer during this visit than she has in the past, and now the sun is beginning to set. The witch observes you, her long-lashed eyes narrowed, then says, "It's unfortunate, but I fear I cannot spend too much more time by your side. I need to be off, even I have work to do." That's funny, you thought that as a witch it was her role to kidnap their maidens. Is that not her primary line of work? Oh, I wish. It would be nice if there was any money to be made in kidnapping maidens. And who knows, maybe there is. If I put a ransom on you, I'm sure the king and queen would acquiesce to my requests. I can make quite a tidy profit from capturing princesses. But they say you should never mix work and pleasure. Well, it would be nice to make a profit from my passion. I wouldn't wish to tire of my favourite pastime. That would be a true tragedy. So she regards kidnapping young women as a pastime. Well, what else would it be? It's just a bit of fun. For her, maybe it is, but for you? Oh, I'm sure you'll get used to it soon enough. I've not been too unforgivably wicked to you, have I? You think briefly upon the kisses that the witch has plied you with during the last few days. Her mouth pressed firmly against your own. You can recall the taste of her slither upon your tongue. It was oddly floral, wasn't it? Everything about the witch is oddly floral, oh you. Though you think she might be compensating for something. When she kissed you, you thought you could taste the earth and the dirt. Silty soil and writhing worms. A moment passes, you blink, then quietly you say no, she hasn't been too wicked to you. She has by all accounts been treating you quite gently. Surprisingly so for a witch. Well, there you go then. You have enough food to eat and clothes to wear and books to read. What more could a girl want for? Oh, you don't know your freedom, maybe? Freedom is overrated. How much of it did you have when you were a princess? That is a good question. You cannot remember. That's what I thought. The witch smiles smugly, then she leans in. She takes your face between her palms, cupping it, and then says, "Now look here. There are many people out there who seek the aid of witches such as myself. There are many sad and lonely little girls out there with no friends and family and nobody who will listen to them. Granting their wishes is my job, though I fear I've been ignoring their plaintive cries in favour of spending time with you. My clients will probably get angry if I keep shirking my duties. Now that is peculiar. You're surprised that so many people would willingly seek the services of witch. Do they not have a bad reputation in these lands?" "Indeed we do. A bad reputation is better than having no reputation, though. Some people are desperate enough that they're even willing to turn to the devil for help. I thought that you would know that already, dear one." You fail to see how this conversational topic is related to you. But then again, you have always been a bit slow on the uptake. "In any case, I think I'll be busy for a few days. I won't be able to pay you as many regular visits as I have been, but don't fret. I will try to hurry with my obligations as quickly as I can so I can be with you once again, like fate ordained." Fate? Yes, indeed! A princess is nothing without a witch to keep guard over her. Without me, I fear your existence would lose all meaning. But I would lose all meaning without you too. We need one another, just like the roses need the earth from which they sprout. So of course I will return to you. I cannot help myself. We are drawn together, you and I, but if you wish for further reassurance, I do not mind making an oath. Now look here." The witch relinquishes her grip upon you and takes a step back. For a few moments you allow yourself to feel a flicker of relief, soothed by the distance which has now been put between yourself and the witch. But then the flashes of silver in the witch's right hand and your relief soon withers. What is she holding? "This is a knife, my dear one. Just a simple paring knife, really. I mostly use it for peeling fruits, but it should serve my purposes well enough. Behold!" The witch lifts her right hand, holding it upwards so it's level with your curious eyes. She extends her long, bony fingers, flexing them so they seem to expand like the unfurling petals of a flower. With her other hand, she holds the knife for steady. Unblinking, she introduces the blade of the knife to her palm. Then she presses. Blood begins to bloom on her white flesh in moments, her skin cleaving beneath the tip of the knife. You watch entranced as gobbets of bright red blood splash against the silvery blade, sullying it. The witch cuts herself without any hesitation, without any emotion, as a gardener might snip through the stem of a flower with a pair of shears. Does she not feel any pain? Does not look like it. Her expression is quite impassive, unwavering even. You have wondered before, but you are quite certain now. She truly is not human. She has transcended such petty notions to become something otherworldly, something extraordinary. Now let me do the same to you. Does she mean to? But of course! A pact has no meaning if only one person is making it, just as promises have no purpose if only one person is willing to keep them. I am already offering myself unto you, dear one, so you need to offer yourself up to me too. That way we will always be bound together, not through words which are flimsy, but through something much more immutable. Both paupers and princesses are capable of telling lies, but blood is always honest. The witch speaks in a curious sing-song which does not match how cold and inhuman her eyes are. She brings down her knife, smeared copper brown with her own coagulating blood, against your palm. She presses the blade to your skin, which is soft and unyielding, and marked by any calluses. Yours are hands which have never known hard work. Yours are hands which have never before known any hurt. There, just stay still, alright? And that's a good girl, you're doing so well. But that was before you met the witch. Once Once more you find yourself sitting by the tower window looking out over the forest. The witch was right, you think glumly as you scan the tops of the trees. This tower really is deep in the woods. Though you strain your eyes, there is nothing but green, green, and more green. The trees are nigh on endless. You have pondered the pros and cons of jumping from the window before, so that you might run to safety, but you already know that this is a fool's errand. Your room in the stone tower is too high up for one thing. For you to jump, if you were to attempt it, you should shatter both of your legs or worse. You're unsure whether you can survive this fall, no matter how verdant the grass is at the base of the tower. And even if you did survive, you would not know where to run. You did not know where the nearest city is. For all you know, it could be miles and miles away. Nobody will be coming to save you, and you cannot save yourself. Princesses shouldn't be too proactive. That isn't how stories like this are meant to go. Like a good little girl, you sit by your window looking out over the forest which stretches on endlessly, and you think. You daydream and you dither, but in the end you do absolutely nothing. Once again, the witch doesn't come to see you. It's been 2 days since you last saw her. Only 2 days, but the time has begun to drag. If she went through all of the effort to kidnap you, then shouldn't she make an effort to spend a bit more time with you? You'll have to give her a piece of your mind the next time you see her. It really isn't proper leaving a lady such as yourself alone for so long. But has it really been that long? It has only been 2 days. That is not so very much. Why then do you feel so uneasy? You have a vague feeling that in your past life, the life that you can't remember, you did more than sitting about or lying about waiting. But what else do princesses do other than wait? They wait in their palace for balls, and then they wait for these balls to be asked to dance. And then they wait for handsome princes to propose and whisk them away to other, bigger castles. You should be used to all this inertia. The yawning, empty nothingness, but it still gnaws at you. It consumes you, eating away from the inside out. But you're a good girl at the end of the day, and you know better than to overstep the boundaries of the role the witch has provided you with. You are a princess, and princesses ought not to try and escape. All you can do instead is remain in your room and let the world pass you by. Dear one, it's really good to see you again. I missed you. That is what the witch says when she appears in your tower one sunny morning, after smoothing down the satiny fabric of her petal-shaped gown and adjusting her hair. You jump upon hearing the witch's honeyed words and drop the book you were perusing from your awkward, fumbling fingers. Wide-eyed, you glance towards the window where your unexpected, though perhaps anticipated guest is standing. You hope it does not show on your face, you do not want to be too woefully obvious, but part of you is relieved to see the witch again. You still do not care for her, of course, she is your captor, but her company is better than no company. Though you've always had a fondness for reading, books can only alleviate so much of your loneliness. It is always better to have somebody else to speak to, even if that somebody else is a witch. How have you been getting along, dear one? The witch asks you, her voice positively skipping as she approaches you. I hope you've not been too bored without me. Your cheeks prickle as you dip your head. Quietly you mumble something in response. This has not been too bad, really. You have been reading, and books are amusing diversions. Yes, I know that full well. I used to read a lot myself when I was younger and more awkward than I am now. In my youth, all my friends could be found inside of books. I am glad that we have so much in common. You'll have to tell me all about the stories that you've been reading later. But for now... The witch looks you up and down. She takes in your dishevelled estate. You've not been awake long, though the sun is high in the sky and tuts. Your hair is full of more knots and tangles than a bramble bush, and the collar of your off-white nightgown is slipping down one of your shoulders. You must make quite a sight, a supposition that the witch affirms with a click of her tongue. Dear, you have not been looking after yourself at all. I know being shut up in this tower must be tedious, but you are still a princess. You can't afford to be so careless with your appearance. You really would be helpless without me. The witch retrieves the brush from the bedside table, then approaches you. Let's get you looking pretty, shall we? The mattress depresses beneath the witch's thighs and you sigh. You know there is little point in trying to pull away from her. Even if you did, where would you go? The witch is all that you have. Without her, you are nothing. Your own worthlessness has already been imbued deep within your bones. You do not want to admit it, but even you cannot deny the wave of relief that comes when you finally submit to her. The witch stays with you in the tower for a few days, just as she did when you were first incarcerated. She tells you stories about her travels and about the sad girls whose wishes she oh so kindly grants. She also tells you fairy tales, some of which you remember, though vaguely, from your childhood. She toys with your hair, weaving flowers through it, and she brews you cups of tea to keep you warm. She dresses you up in various outfits, and she paints your face as if you were a doll. Then, when the night falls, she takes you to bed, embracing you, your body slotting together as if it was meant to be. Though her touch unnerved you in the beginning, you begin to find a strange sort of comfort in her proximity. You cannot recall anybody being as gentle with you as her. Though perhaps that is not saying much, given you cannot recall much at all. Then, when she leaves you, you cannot help but feel her loss. The tower feels uncomfortably empty in her absence, like a newly missing tooth, an empty cavity which aches. You sit up in bed early in the morning after her departure and toy with your hair. But you are hopelessly clumsy and your fingers falter. You try to braid your hair, but you cannot manage it without it coming untied. Part of you wonders whether this is not some great failing, given you are a princess. A princess is not supposed to take great pride in their looks, primping and preening. You must be a poor sort of princess. But despite that, the witch still cared enough to try and kidnap you. That must mean that you are worth something, if not to your parents. Did they really love you if they haven't bothered to look for you? Then to the witch. At least you have her, and that is enough, for the presence to soothe you no matter how hollow your heart might feel. The days pass by slowly as you wait for the witch's return. Not you try to tell yourself that you really care about her. She might have braided your hair oh so gently, threading flowers through it, and she might have fed you sugary sweet treats with her fingers. But still, she tore you away from everything you once knew and loved. She has ruined your life. You know that you should despise her. But when the witch finally returns, you set your book down a little too quickly and look at her a little too expectantly. The witch seems to notice this. She notices everything with those eagle eyes of hers because she giggles and says, My, somebody's eager. Did you miss me that much, dear one? Your face flushes at this, like a red-capped mushroom, and inwardly you wince. You wish you weren't so transparent. You look at your feet, you cannot look at the witch, your captor, and mumble something that is only faintly intelligible. Your response is hardly elegant, but the witch catches the general gist because she chuckles. Come now, don't be like that. I know you like me, really. Otherwise you wouldn't have looked so enthusiastic. You tell the witch sullenly in the voice of a truculent child that you are not enthusiastic, she is reading far too much into things. If you say so, dear. The witch smiles and then reaches into the wicker basket that dangles from the crook of her arm. It seems that you're determined to be difficult today, though why I don't know, and you'll ruin your pretty face scowling at me like that. But maybe this will cheer you up. The witch draws something from her basket and entranced despite yourself you observe her. You see that she is clutching a small stack of books. 3 of them, to be precise, bound in leather. She holds them to you like a peace offering, her smile soft. Is this enough to satisfy you, dear one? You thank the witch for her thoughtfulness, feeling ashamed by your earlier conduct, and she beams. It's no trouble at all. I would not wish for you to be bored. Now let me look at you. How have you been faring in my absence? I see you've been eating well, that's good, but... The witch examines you critically, as a sculptor might eye a piece of marble, conjuring with their mind's eye the hidden art piece waiting to burst forth from within it. Something about the way the witch looks at you makes you tremble. Her gaze really is discerning. It is as sharp as a razor, uncomfortably so. Why does the witch make you feel like this? You do not know, but... Oh dear, your hair looks awfully knotty. I fear you've not been taking proper care of it. You ask the witch once more why it matters, and she tuts. Of course it matters. If you stop paying attention to your appearance, my eyes might begin to wander. I am a fickle woman, after all. She's hardly a woman. She is a witch. Yes, exactly. We're notorious for being inconstant, though I do suppose this is what happens when one lives as long as we do. The witch chuckles and retrieves the gilt-backed brush from the bedside table next to the pile of books. Now, would you let me take care of you, and let's get you looking presentable? You result the witch's words, how impetuous she is, though you wonder whether your response mightn't be in part from anticipation. The thought of being taken care of is not wholly unpleasant, even if the one who means to take care of you is a witch. It's almost been a month since you were kidnapped, not that you know it. Time has lost all meaning to you, shut away within your tower, but it continues still. That is 30 days and soon to be 30 nights, more than 700 hours spent trapped within the stone walls of your new home. Yes, you suppose you have begun to regard this place as home. It is where you now live, whether you like it or not. You have not yet found a way to escape, you do not know if such a way exists. The walls of your tower are thick and impermeable, and your room is too high up for you to jump out of the window. There are no stairs which lead downstairs to the entrance at the base of the tower. If indeed there is an entrance at the base of the tower. For all you know, there is no way out. Is that not what the witch told you? She said she was the only one able to enter and exit at will. You meanwhile are quiet in her thrall and capable of escaping. You have been there for such a long time that you are beginning to wonder whether or not you even want to escape. Where would you go if you were able to leave the tower? What would you do? You do not know. So you continue to stay there. There is nothing else for you to do. Do you ever feel like screaming, dear one? The witch asks you this question one day when she is sitting with you upon the bed. Once more she is toying with your hair, her fingers snickering through the teeth of the combs. Her fingers are long and cold, as are her nails. They scrape against your neck, oddly inhuman, and you tremble. But you try to suppress it. You do not want her to know how she unnerves you, or worse still, that she endears you. You ask the witch, who sounds uncommonly wary, whether something is bothering her, and she sighs in response. Is it that apparent? It is rather apparent, yes. It's not like the witch to speak of being tired. You thought that this was an emotion which afflicted lesser people, not all-powerful beings such as herself. Oh, you flatter me. I'm hardly an all-powerful, and I endure my fair share of hardships before I was able to become the woman I am today. I have suffered in my time, oh yes, more than you might realise. But my recent suffering is a lot more manageable, garden variety, I suppose. You incline your head, taking care not to disturb the delicate braids the witch is twining through your hair in interest. What manner of suffering could be described as the garden variety? It is silly, really, but... The witch clears her throat, then says, I told you that I grant wishes, yes? You think she had mentioned it, yes? Well, there's this thing, putting yourself in the servile position to others only ever results in headaches. So many girls demand so very much of me, it's fast becoming tiring. And they can be so ungrateful too. I have been doing my best to live up to everybody's expectations, but it wears upon me. I have rather begun to sicken of other people, and they can go and rot for all I care. But you are different. I know no matter how much hardship I have to endure, you will not leave me. You will not abandon me. I won't let you. My, you really have become obedient, dear one. The witch's voice is warm in your ear, her breath ghosting against your skin as she sits behind you upon your bed. Once again, the witch is toying with your hair. She never seems to tire of it and no longer try to pull away from her. You do not want to. What would you be without her? At this point, you can hardly imagine. The witch, recognizing how dependent you have become, giggles and says, You really are a good girl. You're quite the handful in the beginning, but you've warmed up a good deal. It makes for quite the change. Now tell me, dear one, do you miss me when I'm not here? You swallow. Your own saliva tastes musty on your tongue, like an old dress which has not been worn in years. Like a subterranean prison cell which sees no sunlight. But the witch is asking, it is a moot question. She already knows the answer. Yes, you miss her. When she is away, you miss her awfully. Oh nice, I'm glad to hear it. It's wonderful that you can finally be honest with yourself. But I think you're still holding back. Holding back? Indeed, I think your feelings towards me, dear one, are even more intense than that. If you miss me, then it makes me wonder. Do you also love me? For a few moments you simply sit there stunned. You don't know what to say or what to do. But the witch's touch is gentle, you feel trapped. A prisoner clapped in irons. If you had the strength enough, you would throw her hands off you and scramble away, clutching what little remains of your dignity to your chest. What dignity do you have left, really? You've already surrendered yourself to a wicked witch. You can no longer pretend that you have any airs or graces, but even then you find that there is only one thing you can say to her. I don't love you. Oh? The witch frowns? Her arms crossed. Is that so? You worried initially that the witch might be hurt by your response, but that does not seem to be the case. Instead, she seems to ponder, now holding one hand beneath her chin. A moment passes and then... Well, it's no matter, I expected as much. We haven't spent all that much time together, not yet at least. For a witch, a few months is nothing, really. We are beings who exist beyond mere mortals' conception of times. We see years as seconds, months as mere blinking of the eye. I could keep doing this over and over again until you profess to love me, as I know you do deep down. Here the witch's smile takes on a sinister edge. She retrieves her knife from the air. Where did she pull that? You hardly know, and then says, And I think this is just what I will do. Now please don't squirm, dear one, this won't hurt too much. You want to ask her what she means to do and what she wishes to do with that knife. But you can't get the words out, and perhaps this is a good thing. Such questions are awfully trite and tedious, and they are pointless besides. You already know what the witch is planning. She moves in quick and nimble as a dancer, winding an arm about your waist. In this pas-de-deux, you are her partner, pulled close to her chest as if in a lover's embrace. You feel her fingers splayed against you, feel her breath upon your cheek. Then you feel the blade of her knife. It enters your chest, plunging deep, deeper than you thought it was possible for such a small knife to penetrate. You gasp. You splutter. The front of your nightgown blooms red like a garish rose, so bright it hurts for you to look at. It is too painful. The smell of copper fills the air, it fills your mouth. Your vision begins to skew and does your body. You pitch to one side, clumsy as a duckling, no longer a ballerina worthy of performing on the same stage as the witch. She is graceful and elegant as if she is made of air, and you have never felt more lumbering. You pitch to one side and the witch steps in back in a flurry of crimson as she does. Oh my, careful dear, I wouldn't want you to stain my lovely dress. Then your head hits the floor with a smack. For a few moments as you lay there you know pain, a sharp intense agony which consumes you like a wildfire. Your blood pours from your chest, pooling on the floor in a sick, sticky puddle. Try to breathe but your body refuses you. Your lungs ache and every inhalation is agony. The few sad, pathetic snatches of air you're able to inhale taste like glass. It hurts. It hurts, it hurts, it hurts. But to your immense relief, it doesn't hurt very long. The witch bends down, knife in hand. Gently, she caresses your face as though she means to soothe you, as though she cannot countenance how you came to be in such a sorry state. My apologies, dear one. I wasn't as efficient as I would like to have been. I still don't have much practice with this, but I'm sure you'll forget it all soon enough. In a few minutes, this will all fade away just like a bad dream. Then she plunges the knife into your limp and resting body once more. You feel the cold and organic material plunge deep inside you, chilling you from the inside out. The knife violates your body, which is fast becoming a corpse. More of your life's blood oozes from the gaping, violent wound in your stomach, which is very, very red, just like a rose. Then, there is nothing. You bleed out, your vision blurring, and you die. Not even have a chance to try and resist your fate. The witch is not merciful no matter how she claims to care for you, and she will not grant you such reprieve. Why would she? You rejected her so callously. In this fairy tale theatre full of bad endings, you reaped what you sowed with your cruelty, your callousness. But don't worry, this is not the end. Don't you know that all fairy tales have to have a happily ever after? You feel sick when you finally wake up. Like an injured animal, you lie there, so enfeebled you can scarcely move. Your chest hurts as though it was recently split apart. Your heart, meanwhile, hammers anxiously in your breast, a thick, unwieldy piece of muscle which is working too hard to assert its own existence. With trembling fingers, you look down. You half expected to find the front of your nightgown dyed red with blood, but it is not to be. Your nightgown is a pure, peerless white instead. the fabric smooth and unwrinkled. How peculiar. You were so convinced upon waking that you would find a crater in your chest, a hole where your heart used to be, that your reality is a touch disappointing. It feels like a letdown. But you would rather have your heart in place, you suppose, inside your breast than outside it and lying on the floor. With your immediate welfare assured, you glance about your surroundings. You think that this room, with its stone walls and the bookcase and the wooden chair by the window, looks vaguely familiar. Where have you seen it before? You wonder this, trying to grasp at your faint, fleeting memories when you hear a voice. You whip your head about, the lights in the room flickering, the sun outside sinking, then rising again. And... Oh, I see, you're finally awake. You recognize the voice, but where is its owner? Ah, just there, you see her now. There is a woman standing by your bedside. She has hair the colour of sunset that curls around her face, her eyes are soft and smiles play about her lips. She looks sweet like an angel, but you only know too well that looks can be deceiving.
Have you not spoken to her once before in this very room? You are sure you have, but the harder you try to grasp these details, the more faint and flimsy they become. Perhaps you are making it up. You have always had a penchant for daydreaming. You have not seen this woman before, and if you have, you must have seen her in a dream. Or else, perhaps, a nightmare. Oh, you poor thing, the woman tuts. It's almost as though she can tell what you are thinking. Or maybe she can simply see your feelings written upon your face, because she says, "You look to be in a bad way. You're awfully dazed. But I ought to be able to help you. Here, drink this." The woman with eyes like roses hands you a mug, one which is earthen and full of some warm liquid of a suspicion honeyed hue.
When she is away, you miss her awfully. Oh nice, I'm glad to hear it. It's wonderful that you can finally be honest with yourself. But I think you're still holding back. Holding back? Indeed, I think your feelings towards me, dear one, are even more intense than that. If you miss me, then it makes me wonder. Do you also love me? You stare at the witch with wide, anxious eyes just like a deer's. The question has stirred something within your chest. Half-remembered dreams, perhaps, or passing fancies. Or maybe even memories. You can recall somebody asking you this question once, a long, long time ago, but you don't remember who it was. You don't remember how you responded to their query. You do remember the pain, however, short and sharp. Then there was nothing. Well, and the witch asks. Her rose-coloured eyes are fixed upon you. What do you have to say? You do not know. You stand there shaking, your hands clasped at your heart as if to defend it from a vicious predator. A clever-eyed crow, perhaps, who likes to make meals out of knock-kneed princesses. What should you say? I don't love you. Though you know the witch's question is a loaded one, you know full well what answer she wants. You cannot bring yourself to give it. You cannot tell the witch that you love her, even though your body is screaming at you to do so, or every nerve ending on fire. You have a vague memory of beholding the scene once before, of the witch standing before you, knife in hand, but even then you will not betray yourself. You will not let her get the better of you. She has taken so much of you already, your freedom, your future, and so many, many hours. You will not let her have your heart too. That is something you must guard jealously, for as a princess is your heart not your greatest asset. You must keep it safe so that when you might bequeath it to a handsome prince who might one day come by to try and rescue you. But the witch must know what you are thinking, because the smile which paints her lips is cruel, mocking even. She snorts and as she says, "Oh, you mean to reject me because you think a prince might rescue you? It's a pretty notion, my dear, but there is no prince to rescue you now. There is just you and me. You can accept my love or not, but if you don't, you will suffer the consequences. Haven't you all learnt your lesson? Haven't you learnt your lesson already, you silly thing? You really are stubborn." There is a flash of light, the witch retrieves seemingly from thin air a knife, one with a short blade, but it is sharp enough. You know from past experience how very devastating that blade can be. You are sure now as you back away from your captor that this scene has played out once before, exactly as it is now. You are sure that the witch has descended upon you, knife in hands, but your feet refuse to move. They root you to the spot as if you were an old oak tree incapable of breaking away. This is simply a role to play in the story. Fair, pretty princesses always meet tragic ends like this when there are no princes about to rescue them. You played with fire, you poor little fool, and now you have become hopelessly burned. The witch plunges the knife into your breast for a second time while you stand there unresisting. This time she makes quicker work of you, and she pierces your heart in a single blow. Your body slumps to the ground, senseless just like a doll. And once again the cycle repeats itself. You feel pained when you finally wake up. Your whole body burns as though cast into flames, and the first thing you do upon waking is scream. You scream over and over again like a banshee, all while tearing at your body, grabbing fistfuls of cloth between your fingers as if you mean to render your own nightgown asunder. Somebody stabs you, you can remember that much. A knife plunged into your chest between your ribs and pierced your heart. You bled out and you died. It hurt so much. You don't know why you're still sitting here unblemished or why you're still breathing. What is going on? You shouldn't be alive. You died, you're sure of it. You know that you died, you felt yourself dying. You felt your corpse slowly becoming cold as you lay there. Still and stiff, a porcelain doll made unmovable, immutable flesh left to mould and wither away. But your chest is whole, your nightgown clean. There is no blood, and there is no wound. What happened? You examine yourself, your heartbeat slowly steadying. With shaking hands you press your fingers to your chest as if this act might reveal some secret cavity in which you can wiggle your digits and sign like words. Pat yourself down, but in vain. There is nothing wrong with you at all, and now you are starting to feel rather silly. You flush embarrassed at your unseemly conduct when all of a sudden you hear footsteps. You whip your head upwards, the light in the room flickering, the moon outside sinking, then rising again, and... Oh, I see you're finally awake. You recognize the voice, but where is its owner? Ah, just there, you see her now. There is a woman standing by your bedside. She has the hair the colour of sunset that curls around her face, her eyes are soft and a smile plays about her lips. She looks sweet like an angel, but you know only too well that looks can be deceiving. Have you not spoken to her once before in this very room? You're sure you have, but the harder you trust to grasp these details, the more faint and flimsy they become. She stayed at your side rather longer during this visit than she has in the past, and now the sun is beginning to set. She stayed at your side rather longer during the visit than she has in those in the past, and now the sun is beginning to set. The witch busied herself for hours playing with you as one might a doll, though you of course are much more than that. While dolls have hard impermeable bodies made of porcelain, which are incapable of experiencing sensation, it is not so for you. You feel every single touch the witch bestows upon you. When her fingernails press against your scalp, you cannot help but shudder. You have begun to think during your ensuing days that perhaps things would be easier if you were a doll. Then you would not sigh so from her touches, would not lean into her kisses, though you wish you could lean away. If you could not feel emotions, perhaps the witch would not take so much obvious delight in drawing them out of you. Then perhaps she would not torment you so. Like a playground bully, the witch keeps on pressing. She pokes and she prods until your stony facade crumbles. She takes delight in your whimpers, but she seems to enjoy it all the more when you snap at her. You've told the witch to leave you alone before, and she never does. Your aggression only ever procures from her that light tinkling laughter which has begun to grate on you so, the laughter of a child who knows not the hurt she is causing. Or perhaps she does know, but she does not care. You're unsure what is worse. The witch finally seems to have had enough of your company, however, because she rises from your bed. The witch observes you, her long lashed eyes, and then says, "This is unfortunate, but I fear I cannot spend much more time by your side. I need to be off, even I have work to do." You have pondered the pros and cons of jumping from the window before, so that you might run to safety, but you already know that this is a fool's errand. Your room in the stone tower is too high up for one thing. For you to jump, if you were to attempt it, you should shatter both of your legs or worse. You're unsure whether you can survive this fall, no matter how verdant the grass is at the base of the tower. And even if you did survive, you would not know where to run. You do not know where the city is. Or you know it could be miles and miles away. It could be even across the sea of lava or across the dark, tempestuous ocean. You have no idea if this is the country you were born in, neither do you know where you are on any map. The witch is the only person who can tell you where you are, and you get the distinct feeling she's not being wholly truthful with you. She responds to your queries, yes, but her words seem to bend like light when it meets the surface of a mirror. Her words are like quicksilver. They shift and mutate, and you just cannot pin them down. When you ask her where you are, she smiles and laughs and says, "Why, in this tower, of course." When you ask her where the tower is, she says, "In the woods."
This is not a lie, of course. You are most definitely in a tower which is situated in the woods, but any attempts to extract further information from her results in laughter. If you ask too many questions, she invariably starts kissing you. It's quite effective at shutting you up. It's very hard to articulate yourself when the witch's tongue is nudging against your own, and her arms are about you and you are sighing. When she takes you in her arms and she holds you and she kisses you, you forget all about your questions. You forget about trying to escape, if only for a few brief blissful moments when nothing much seems to matter save her. Then she leaves you and you find yourself more easy than ever before, disgusted at yourself for cleaving so easily to her kisses, and even more confused. You still have no idea where you are, but maybe the particulars don't matter. You're in a tower in the forest and nobody but the witch knows where you are. Nobody will be coming to save you and you cannot save yourself. Even if you could jump from the window, you can't. You knew where the city was, you don't. There was something rather uncouth about attempting to escape. Even if you could jump from the window, you can't. And you knew where the city was, you don't. There is something rather uncouth about attempting to escape. Nobody will be coming to save you and you cannot save yourself. You're in a tower in the forest, nobody but the witch knows where you are. You're a princess after all, and princesses aren't supposed to rescue themselves. That's not how stories like these go. They're supposed to wait until a handsome prince rescues them, and that's what you do. Like a good little girl, you sit by your window looking out over the forest which stretches on endlessly, and you think. You should be used to all of this inertia, this yawning empty nothingness, but it still gnaws at you. That's why you begin reading. It's fortunate that the tower isn't completely devoid of entertainment. There are books, at least shelves full of them, stacked against the stone walls. There are so many books, the wood shelves groan beneath their weight. You're hard-pressed to pick a book, but eventually settle upon a romance. It's frothy and inoffensive and not particularly interesting, but losing yourself within its pages is better than sitting idle. At least it occupies your brain. It stops you from thinking about your predicament, which can only be described as dire. And it stops you too from thinking about her. That really is the most frustrating part about this whole experience. When the witch was with you, forever by your side, you could not wait to be rid of her. Now you are rid of her and you have nothing left to look forward to save for her next visit. The world has become very small indeed since you were kidnapped, compressing down on itself until it could be fit inside a walnut shell. That is why you read, if you immerse yourself in somebody else's life, even if it is a made-up life, it might stop thinking about your own. At the moment, it was the only meaningful way in which you could be free. The witch retrieves the brush from your bedside table, then approaches you. She has done this many times before, but you find yourself shrinking away from her regardless. You do not want the witch touching your hair. You do not want her touching any part of you. You do not want to be alone, but you do not want to be with her either. You do not want her to disappear, but you cannot bear to look at her. Paralysed by indecision, not knowing what you want, not knowing what to say, you edge away, small and afraid, while the witch smiles. Now let me make you beautiful. The mattress depresses beneath the witch's thighs and you sigh. You know there is little point in trying to pull away from her, even if you did, where would you go? Your face flushes at this like a red-capped mushroom and inwardly you wince. Aren't princesses supposed to be calm, composed, perfectly poised? You might not remember much of your past, nor of your life in the palace, but you think you should be accustomed to compliments at this point. Surely princesses have been going down on one knee and taking your hand for years, ever since your 18th birthday. It should be ingrained in you, but you feel awkward and clumsy before the witch's words regardless. Stripped bare and oddly exposed. It is enough to make you wonder, are you really a princess at all? You look at your feet, you cannot look at the witch or captor, and mumble something that is only faintly intelligible. Here, is this enough to satisfy you, dear one? You mean to reply, really you do, but the words catch in your throat. Your initial instinct is to thank the witch for her kindness, but why should you? She kidnapped you. You do not owe the witch anything. You do not know her anything at least, but this still makes it more complicated to navigate this gift. What should you do? You dither for a few moments, rendered mute. You never know what to say to the witch. While the witch chuckles. Well, let me leave it at your bedside table. You can peruse them when they're most convenient for you, or not. If they're not to your liking, I'm not boorish enough to force the gift upon the fair maiden if she doesn't want it. That is quite curious, given that she was boorish enough to kidnap you. Now, let me look at you. How have you been faring in my absence? I see you've been eating well, that's good, but... Something about the way the witch looks at you makes you tremble. Her gaze really is discerning. It's as sharp as a razor, uncomfortably so. Why does the witch make you feel like this? You do not know, but you wish she didn't.
It makes your skin crawl. Oh dear, your hair looks awfully knotted. I fear you've not been taking proper care of it. Where would you go if you were able to leave? What would you do? The time spools before you, each day blurring into the other. You have so much time now, but there is precious little to fill it save reading. You've gone through most of the books in your tower already, and you are beginning to long for something more than light, frothy fairy tales, even more insubstantial than sea foam. Perhaps you will ask the witch for more books when she next visits you, though you have no idea when that will be. Her visits are sporadic, and she does not always stay for very long. She seems to care more about how you look than what you think, and she fusses about your hairs and clothes more than your words, and maybe that is to be expected. You are a princess after all. You were raised like a sacrificial lamb to be bartered away to the highest bidder. That is how all princes are, whether they engage the princes or kidnap by witches. They exist to be looked at and to be admired. What they think of it is little consequence. The witch's treatment of you rankled in the beginning. It stung your pride you suppose is a princess. In the beginning you railed against her. Now, however, you have begun to miss her company. Every day when you awake, you are made aware anew of just how much your world has shrunk. It contains nothing save the witch. There is nothing for you to anticipate beyond her visits. Nobody for you to speak to save the voices in your own head. It wears upon you, but you have the strangest of feelings that this is where you belong. This is your new world. You are playing the role that is expected of you, but this is not what the princesses are supposed to do. Being a prisoner must be in your blood. It is part of who you are, ingrained into you just like your knowledge of how to pour a cup of tea without spilling it, or how to address your superiors without making a nuisance of yourself. You know how to be quiet, how to be meek, how to be mild. You do not know how to stop worrying, however. What will happen to you if the witch begins to tire of you? What then? Do you ever feel like screaming, dear one? The witch asks you this question one day when she is sitting with you upon the bed. Once more she is toying with your hair, her fingers snicking through it like the teeth of a comb. Her fingers are long and cold, and as are her nails. They scrape against your neck, oddly inhuman, and you tremble, and you try to suppress it. You do not want her to know that she unnerves you, or worse still, that she endears you. You ask the witch, who sounds uncommonly wary, whether something is bothering her, and she sighs in response. Is it that apparent? It is rather apparent, yes. It's not like the witch to speak of her being tired. You thought this was an emotion which afflicted lesser people, not all powerful beings such as herself. So many girls demand so very much of me, it fast becomes tiring, and they can be so ungrateful too. It almost feels like being back in the conservatoire again. The conservatoire? What is that? Some sort of school for witches? Never you mind, dear. The witch chuckles softly, her fingers stilling in your hair. Her voice sounds light as always, but you detect a strange note to it, a degree of hesitance. Did she misspeak? Perhaps she let slip a bit more than she intended. It is a nuisance, that is all. I vowed that I would not take on more favours for others, but even witches must fulfil their purpose. You have grown comfortable in her presence more than you imagined you might, and the witch has seen this. She has sensed the easing of your breathing, the slumping of your shoulders, and she smiles from it, amused by your easy acquiescence to her affection. You have become more docile, just like a cat. She is well aware of it, and the fact brings a blush to your face. You look at your lap, your eyes half-lit, and you tell her that you are simply too tired to fight her off. You have been her prisoner for so long, it'd be foolish to remain antagonistic towards her. She is the one, after all, who feeds you, who entertains you, who keeps you company. You really are a good girl. You were quite the handful in the beginning, but you've warmed up a good deal. It makes for quite the change. Now tell me, dear one, do you miss when I'm not there? You swallow. Your own saliva tastes musty on your tongue, like an old dress which has not been worn in years, like a subterranean prison cell which sees no sunlight. Though the witch is asking, it is a moot question, she already knows the answer. Yes, you miss her. When she is away, you miss her awfully. How nice, I'm glad to hear it. It's wonderful to think that you can finally be honest with yourself. But I think you're still holding back. Holding back? Indeed. I think your feelings towards me, dear one, are even more intense than that. If you miss me, then it makes me wonder. You also love me. You've been fighting off a slowly mounting feeling of déjà vu since you first awoke in this tower, but this question finally brings you to your senses.
You feel as though you have finally woken, just like Sleeping Beauty from a long, long dream. The witch has already asked you this question once before. She asked you whether you loved her and you refused her. You were too proud and haughty to accept her love and you paid for it. She splashed your blood against the tower floor and you were left to lie there in a heap, sad, pathetic pile. You did not look very much like a princess then, for all your airs and graces. The witch left you to die, but she is a merciful witch, and she has given you a second chance. What will you say to her this time? I don't love you. Oh, dear one, the witch clicks her tongue as she examines you, one hand under her chin. You are proving to be awfully stubborn. You quail before the witch and her large rose-like eyes, your head hanging. You have the awful feeling that you have disappointed her, a feeling which is intense enough to be crushing. You feel your inside squirming unpleasantly as though they've been hooked by a fisherman's lure. You are almost tempted to apologise to her, and cannot help it if you do not love her, but you wish she didn't look so very hurt. Well, it's no matter. This is hardly the first time I've asked you this question, and it's hardly the first time you've rejected me. At this point, I've become accustomed to it. It's like a little game, and I rather enjoy games. They were not so very fun, I will admit, at the conservatoire, when the other girls played tricks upon me, but it is rather entertaining to watch you squirm in my tower all alone. Now, shall we give this another go? I wonder how long you can keep on resisting me. You might be strong, I suppose. I should have expected it, really, given your true nature. But I've endured horrors you can't possibly understand, and I'm even stronger. I'm not going to let you get the better of me. I've had enough of being walked all over, my dear pretty princess. The witch draws a knife from thin air as she speaks, her smile cloying, so sweet it's almost saccharine. She takes one neat, simple step forward like a dancer and draws you to her once more. You recognise this pose. She has held you in her arms like this before, the prince sees through to your white-winged odette. But the front of your pale gown and your fair ivory skin do not remain so for very long. The witch's knife plunges into your chest and sure and true the blade sliding between your ribs as though it belongs there. You gasp, but are not in surprise. You have the dull feeling as you totter back that this has happened once before. You are accustomed to it already. It is not so very surprising, therefore, when you gasp. You choke. You splutter, blood burbling from between your lips, such a deep crimson it's almost black. Your body teeters, and your legs' two slender stems give way beneath you. Then you fall. Your head makes a loud crack as it hits the ground, like a gourd dropped from a tall height. From the window of your tower, perhaps, but you don't register it. You can't hear it. You have already succumbed. You feel tired when you finally wake up. At this point you have seen the ceiling one too many times. It stares down at you hatefully as restrictive as the shell of a walnut. A prison in which you have found yourself trapped. You have been here before. You have seen these walls and you have seen that window and you have seen the sky beyond it, but never have you seen any door. There is no way out of here. Listless you lie there, remembering the deaths which dance through your mind like dust notes. You have died so many times that you can hardly keep track of them. Then you hear a voice. Her voice. You recognise this too. You have seen the scene play out so many times before you have become quite jaded. Perhaps it is time to disassociate. You let the witch introduce herself once more as though you are strangers as your days begin to melt away. The time passes one day after another and over and over and over, until the witch one day asks you the all-important question. Do you love me? I don't love you. This again, and the witch starts evidently displeased as her fingers press against your cheeks, her nails sharp like claws so that they almost draw blood. I am beginning to tire of this back and forth. I thought that I would be able to break you down by this point, like the dear little doll that you are. But never mind, it appears some further persuasion is in order. Just don't complain if it hurts, dear one. Remember, you are the one who brought this upon yourself. There is a flash of silver, one which has become far too familiar. Then you feel pain, but only for a few seconds. The witch's blade sinks into your chest, plunging into your heart. You bleed and your body crumples to the floor. Then you die. You feel tired when you finally wake up. I love you. In the face of the witch's inquisition, there is only one thing you can say. There is only one thing that destiny will allow you to say. This is the moment that your story has led up to. This is why you exist within this tower with the witch watching over you. You exist solely so that you can love her, and you know, the moment the words pass your lips, that you have done your duty. You have fulfilled your role in the story. There will be no more resisting from you now.
Your shoulders slump in relief, finally content with your newfound bondage, this repeating recursive nightmare as the witch smiles. She looks at you tenderly, as a mother might a child, as though you were her child and you have pleased her by eating all of your vegetables or tidying up your toys. It took some doing, but you have finally given her the correct answer. Of course you love the witch. How could you not? She is all you know in this world and all you have to rely on. And is blind reliance not what love is? The witch seems to agree because she giggles. Her fingers curl around your captive cheeks, her nails dig into them just hard enough to hurt, so sharp she threatens for a brief moment to draw blood. But your concerns are soon allayed, or else overwritten, when the witch leans in. Softly she says, "I knew you couldn't keep holding out against me. You are awfully stubborn, but all that silly resistance is in the past. Finally, you're all mine. My adorable pretty princess." Then she kisses you, a harsh, crushing kiss which robs the air from your very lungs, and the sense clean out of your skull. You thought after confiding in the witch that she might be more compelled to spend time with you. You had hoped by sharing your gently blossoming feelings it would kindle a newfound understanding between the two of you, and that she would come to care for you. You had hoped. Oh, you are not sure what you had hoped, not anymore, but it was not this. The days continue to slide by as slippery as an eel's back, yet you see no sign of the witch. She left you food enough to last several weeks, food which does not seem to sprout mold nor turn sour no matter how much time passes. Perhaps it is enchanted. The hard loaves of rye bread the witch bequeathed you do not turn bluish-white from age, and the cheese she bestows you retain much of their flavour. The punnets of strawberry is still sweet, the cherries tantalisingly tart. You are not in any danger of languishing any time soon, but though your stomach is full, your heart is discerningly empty. It feels as though the witch has stolen something from you, something precious which you cannot recover. The witch has already stolen from you your old home, your old life. She may have also stolen your old memories, though you are less sure about that. You are beginning to fear, however, that in the wake of your confession she has stolen something even more intimate. She has stolen your affection, plucking words of love from your lips as easily as she might twist a berry from a bush, or the head from a flower. She has harvested your feelings in a manner which, in retrospect, seem uncomfortably calculated. Did she lavish you with gifts so that you might grow to adore her? Did she cultivate your feelings on purpose in hopes of reaping them, of having something else to steal from you? Now that she has claimed your heart, perhaps she no longer finds you amusing. She has begun to grow bored of you? What will happen to you then? Will she abandon you all alone in this tower with no ways of escaping, with no means of procuring your own food? If she were to do that, you were sure you would die, either of loneliness or of starvation. You were unsure of which would come first. You try to take solace within the pages of numerous novels within your tower, but you have read them all before. The stories entombed within the pages do not change. They cannot distract you from your anxieties. The actions of the put-upon heroines in any case all seem awfully trite. There is a lot of running through woods, brambles snagging at the hems of dresses or else catching in hair. And anyway, all these stories end badly. The heroine always dies. As far as romance stories go, they are not very cheerful. They cannot console you. The witch is not there, and in her absence you are all alone. The witch pays you a handful of visits, but they are infrequent, few and far between, and they are desperately perfunctory alongside it. These visits do little to persuade you that the witch still loves you. How can she when she comes and goes so very easily, just like a cat? If she loved you, could she really abandon you without a Blackwood's glance? You do not know, or perhaps you do not want to know. Dwelling upon it is too uncomfortable. Does the witch not know what she is doing to you? Does she not know how much you have come to care for her? Surely she must, for it's she who pulled the confession, timorous though it was and uneasy from your lips. You told the witch that you loved her, and she has repaid you by abandoning you. Did you come on too strongly? Was she unhappy to hear of your affection for her? That cannot be right, though. Not when she laughed upon hearing your confession. You thought it would make her happy, but was that not presumptuous of you? What do you know of the witch? You do not even know her name. You work yourself up into knots with every day which passes, so much so that your insides feel uncomfortably tangled. Not knowing what to say nor what to do, you remain mute. It's easier to say nothing than to say too much, and to shatter what little regard the witch might have for you.
But you ache for her presence, for her attention, and for her affection. And so, unable to stop yourself, you find yourself asking the witch what you did wrong. Why has she been avoiding you? Avoiding you, dear one? The witch looks at you questioningly, her expression so believably bemused that you'd begin to doubt yourself. I'm not avoiding you. Perish the thought! Why would I do something so callous? You are not sure. That is why you were asking her. She spent so little time with you lately, you just thought. Oh, that's why you're getting tripped up, my dear one. You are the princess, therefore you should not think. You have no need for it. Princesses are made to be pampered by others, not to try and sleuth their way out of their own problems. You'll be much happier if you stop running. You'll be much happier if you stop worrying, silly thing. Well, yes, you suppose she is right. You can see the logic there. Your life would be a lot easier if you could simply switch off your worries, as if they were a gas lamp, but... That's enough, dear one. Remember what I said? There is no sense in thinking. You will work yourself up again. But you cannot help but think. You have nothing else to occupy your hours when she is away. And she has been away so often lately. Ah yes, I suppose you are right. I have been keeping away from you lately. But that is not due to any malice on my part. No? Of course not. My feelings for you remain as strong as ever, but I've been awfully busy lately, that's all. There are many sad, lonely girls out there, after all. With wishes that need granting. If I have seen at all distracted, that is why. It has nothing to do with you, so please do not cry. I cannot bear to see you looking so sad. What? Will you cry? Yes, you are. Your eyes are wet and so are your cheeks, you poor dear thing. The witch tuts and leans in. Gently, she introduces her fingers to your cheeks, cupping them as if though you were something invaluable. When she touches you like that, you feel as though you are precious. On your own, it is easy to get caught up in the mire of your own thoughts, but with the witch... Shh, easy now. Try not to cry, dear one, you'll spoil your pretty face. With the witch, you feel like the princess that she claims you are. She makes you feel as though for the first time in life that you are wanted. You are needed, you are safe. And perhaps that is why you begin to cry in earnest. The gentler the witch handles you. You always thought it was foolish saying, to kill somebody with kindness. But now you think you can finally see the logic behind it. The witch is killing you whether she knows it or not. Even when she leaves you, you are not alone, not truly. She has burrowed her way into your heart, and there you fear she will remain, lodged from now until the end of all times. You will never be able to disentangle yourself from her. You love her far too much for that. You try to remain a positive attitude as the days elapse, afraid that you might deter the witch if you become too mawkish. You can get through the days well enough, brushing your hair, painting pictures, or else flipping through numerous books which the witch has brought you. You have distractions enough to keep your mind and your hands occupied, an effect for which you are thankful. You do not have many distractions, but you have enough. When the sun sinks beneath the trees, however, and the sky turns dark blue, then black your doubts begin to pile up on you. During the night when it is cold and the wind is blowing, you can no longer fool yourself. It has been a week, 2 weeks, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 since you last saw the witch. She visits you rarely now, so much so that your cool, untouched skin is beginning to yearn for the brush of her fingers. You sit by your window when the sun begins to sink and you watch as it dips beneath the horizon. You hope with the setting of the sun that the witch might pay you a surprise visit. You wonder whether she might appear at the window and pull you into her arms and pep your eyelids and your cheeks with kisses. But she never does. You sitting at the window once again has become a commonplace occurrence for you, dreaming of what could be, of what should be. When you were first imprisoned within the stone tower, you used to dream of escaping from your confines and running far away. You had dreams of sitting upon a cliffside, the salty breeze in your hair and the sound of the waves upon the shore in your ears. That or of seeking refuge amongst rows of thatched roof cottages in the quiet residence where few dwell. You dreamt of being taken in by somebody wiser than you, somebody kinder. You dreamt of being treated with care and with respect. That is all you wanted. But your wishes have shifted since then, as has your heart. No longer do you dream of the seashore, of the waves and the cliffs. Your dreams have become rather more isolated.
You dream of residing within the walls of this tower, and as you currently do with the witch by your side. She tells you that she loves you and you lean into her love. You accept it without question as if her words were manna from heaven, sweeter than honey. You no longer wish to be loved in a calm and quiet, measured sort of way. You want the obsessive, all-consuming love of the witch who has determined enough to keep you a captive. What other form of love could be more meaningful than that? You do not want a bland love, a milquetoast love, a common, everyday, and remarkable love. You've grown accustomed to the love of the witch, a love which possesses and which consumes. You want the witch to love you as you've come to love her. But when the witch finally does come to visit you, you cannot see any love upon her face. You cannot see any love in her eyes. They are as cold and hard, just like stones. You guess when you see her, you do not expect her, and scramble to your feet. Your soles are bare, you do not bother to dress yourself, have not bothered for the last. How many days has it been? You do not remember. You have grown rather slovenly about your appearance. You no longer care to brush your hair, to change out of your nightgown, to don your petticoats or your bodice, or even your stockings. What is the point, when the witch has stopped visiting you? You would sooner lie in your bed like a consumptive wench and slowly die. That is how it feels without the witch's company, and like you are dying. You have known an intense obsessive love, and now it is gone. Without that love, you have begun to wither away, and it really is a tragedy. You hope the witch will be able to see how much you are suffering without her. You hope that she'll take pity upon how pathetic you have become, and she will promise to stay with you. You wait with wide, eager eyes, hoping that she'll offer you some excuse as to her absence. It needn't be a good excuse, so long as it's not, I have grown tired of you. So long as it's not, I no longer love you. Or worse still, I never loved you. If she lies to you, then you can still love her. If she lies to you, you can pretend that she still loves you. If she lies to you, she can spare your feelings. But the witch's voice is less than reassuring when she addresses you. Her voice is cool when she says, "Dear me, you're in an awful state. You haven't brushed your hair, and you haven't bothered dressing either. Some princess you are. Your parents would be ashamed if a creature like you has any parents to speak of, that is." A creature? You look at the witch incomprehensively. What does she mean by that? I mean what I said. Just take a look at yourself. If you do not believe me, look at your reflection, and then try to argue that you aren't a creature. You would look at yourself, but there is no mirror. You have not seen your own face, save for the faint reflection in the witch's dark eyes for... God, how long have you been trapped here? Ah yes, I suppose that is true. I was hoping you might remember who you are for yourself, without me needing to tell things out for you. But you are remarkably dense, aren't you? I thought you were supposed to be wise, but I suppose even the most powerful of witches are capable of self-delusion, when the truth becomes too unpleasant for them to confront it. What does she mean, witches? You thought that you were a princess. Oh yes, I did tell you that, didn't I? I thought it'd be amusing, a bit of a role reversal. I had wondered if you would like to be the heroine in a love story for once, rather than the antagonist. But this has dragged on for far too long already. It isn't entertaining anymore. It was never that entertaining to begin with, to be honest. But then again, I've never been as cruel as you are, and I don't enjoy reveling in other people's mystery. I just thought that you deserved a taste of your own medicine. Your own medicine? What is she talking about? What do you think? Just take a look. This should answer all your questions, dear one. The witch, but is she a witch? Smiles sardonically, her eyes half as she reaches into the wicker basket which dangles from the crook of her arm. From within it, blanketed beneath a scrap of red fabric, she extracts a gilt mirror. The witch polishes the mirror with the hem of her satiny gown and then hands it to you with an anticlimactic here. Your fingers rush as you reach tumultuously to take the mirror. Your innate desire upon seeing the mirror is to draw away from it, or else to dash it upon the ground. You do not want to think about what you will see reflected within its smooth, glassy surface. You are afraid if you acquiesce, all of this will be over. You will no longer be able to pretend to be a princess. But you are aware at long last that you are pretending. Perhaps you were always aware of it. You never really felt like a princess. Even when the witch bestowed this identity upon you. The word princess never resonated with you. It never felt like you. You still cannot remember spending your days within a palace, or a castle, or even a dungeon guarded by a dragon. You cannot remember meeting any princes, kings, or queens. You were not a princess then. You were never a princess. But of course you always knew that. You just wanted to play pretend. But the face which stares up at you from the mirror, smooth and troubled glass, all pale skin and dark, staring eyes, makes it obvious just what you really are. You were, and always will be, a witch. That's right. The witch, Rosette, regards you unblinkingly, with dark, dead eyes,
eyes which have seen far too much for one so young. But how young is she really? How long was she trapped running through fractured fairy tales as she tried to escape from you? You do not know. You hardly recognize her, but you recognize yourself. You might have lost sight of who you were when Rosette left you, but now? Do you remember? I remember. I always remembered. My name is Mida. Yes, that's right. I am Mida, and this girl is, or was, Rosette. And though our paths continue to cross, we have always been alone. This girl, once so innocent and assuming, languishing for want of love, has known what it feels like to be adored to the point of insanity. She has been drowned, buried, and consumed by love, and in so doing, she changed. She is not the girl that she once was. She has become a fine witch in her own right, with eyes that reflect no light, with a heart that contains no love. She caught you, me, us, while we were drifting, bereft, languishing for lack of a little girl who had so cruelly broken ties with us, and she imprisoned us. I don't know how long we've been trapped here, nor how long Rosette has been toying with us, but I cannot bring myself to resent her. I cannot hate her, no matter how much she might have hurt me. She called upon me when she was alone, and I answered. I promised that I would be there for her. We made a vow, and though she turned her back on me, our connection was never really severed. The love of a witch, after all, is a powerful thing. Even when poisoned, it continues to bloom bright red like roses. Rosette. Ah, my adorable, beautiful Rosette. No matter how much time passes, I still find myself drawn to you. Even now, I still adore you. Whether a mermaid, a poor village girl, or a princess, I will continue to love you. My feelings for you will never waver, even if I never had any fondness to spare for me. How could it? You ought to know yourself now, after becoming a witch in your own right, that it really does get so lonely here. I lie in bed, staring up at the ceiling of the tower my beloved Rosette has prepared for me. A bird cage in which to trap me, so I might never leave her. She meant, I suppose, to torture me, just as I tortured her. Yet all this time she was labouring under a misunderstanding. I never once meant to torture her, and neither did I wish to hurt her. Why would I do that when I loved her so much? She might not have realised it, but my intentions were pure, even if my methods were not. I love Rosette without restraint, for is this not what witches are supposed to do? We are not beings, after all, who are known for tampering our emotions. Everything I felt keenly, and Rosette did wish as she languished in the conservatoire for a companion. She wished for somebody who would stay by her side no matter what, somebody who would never ever leave her. I was only granting her wish, yet when she got what she asked for, she found she no longer wanted it. It is an age-old adage with humans, I suppose. One must be careful what they wish for, lest it come true. But Rosette never realised how intense love can be. I suppose when she wished for it, how was she to know, the poor thing, when she had never been loved before? I made her wish come true, and I tried to fill her love so that she would never be lonely again. I gorged her with the stuff, and she grew sick of it. She grew sick of me. She abandoned me bereft and alone in the patchwork fairy tale of my making, a fantastical world I crafted for Rosette so that she may never be alone. But she came back. She couldn't leave me, just as I cannot leave her. She returned to my side, much changed after all I had subjected her to, but I suppose my love for her changed me too. Adrift in fractured fairy tales, a witch with no fair maid into a snare, I drifted. Without Rosette, I forgot who I was. How could I continue to exist after all on my own? Witches might be solitary creatures, but they always act in opposition to another. I have never once heard of a fairy tale solely about a witch. I lost my identity without Rosette, but she restored to me anew. She claimed to hate me, and perhaps she does, yet she still returned. She brought me back from the brink so that we might play out this little pantomime once again. Though this time our roles are reversed. It has been a strange experience, but not an unwelcome one. I don't mind acting fair and genuine for my dear Rosette, if that will make her happy. If courting my love, then casting it aside, will grant her the happy ending she ardently desires. Now then, I wonder, should I submit myself to Rosette once more and give myself up to fate? Or should I resist just a little longer? Fight against my fate? Yes, perhaps that is for the best. In due time, I'm sure my memories will begin to tarnish once more like the surface of a mirror. Then I will be able to experience the story once more, with myself as the put-upon heroine. Until that day comes, however, I will continue to lie here. I will think to myself and of Rosette, and I will allow myself the degree of contentedness which we riches. I will think to myself and of Rosette, and I will allow myself the degree of contentedness.
I will think of myself and of Rosette, and I will allow myself a degree of contentness which we witches rarely feel. Rosette might not be here, but she is the one who built this tower to entrap me. She meant to keep me here, and as long as I remain, Rosette will always be a part of me. I will always be part of her, and I need never be lonely again. I feel oddly empty when I wake up, but I've said all this before, haven't I? I might have been a witch who has lived for thousands of years, but I have no wish to be a bore. I am not going to repeat myself, but I do have to wonder, what should I do with myself now this tale is concluded? Accept my fate. Yes, that does sound lovely. Tales are best experienced once, but we witches are greedy. We live for longer than ordinary humans, so we might indulge in the same story over and over. There is no harm in overindulgence, not when we witches will never truly die. There is nothing to prevent me from sinking once more into this yarn which Rosette has spun for me. And so I will do just that. I will give up my memories once again, and I will allow myself to be reborn. I will let Rosette cut me and coddle me and kill me. I will let her kill me over and over again, roses blooming in this tower to commemorate every single one of my deaths. I will submit myself once more to her hands, and in doing so I will plunge myself ever deeper into this endless obsession. And just like that, we've come full circle. If you haven't guessed by now, the end of an obsession is the sequel to It Gets So Lonely Here. And just like its predecessor, it has been a wonderful time. Rosette's revenge was incredibly satisfying, while Misa's response was sickeningly sweet. I do like our slightly delusional love-struck witch. Once again, credit to ebi-hime, the writer and programmer, alongside the rest of the team that worked on the game. I'll leave the download link to the game in the description if you'd like to play it for yourself, or if you want to check out some of their other works. Let me know what you thought about this tragic tale, and whether you'd like to see me play more visual novels like this in the future. Make sure to hit subscribe before an evil witch kidnaps you and puts you through a time loop. And as the night draws in, I must bid you all a good night.